Hey guys, welcome to my channel! I'm glad you joined me again for the next episode of this series, where I travel the world on a culinary journey to find out which country has the healthiest national dish. The culinary area we're currently visiting is English-speaking North America, and today we're having a closer look at Canada. Their national dish is called Poutine, and it consists of fries topped with cheese curds and gravy. It's a really simple recipe. Typically, double deep-fried French fries are used in poutine. But since I don't own a real fryer, I can't do that. Of course, you could also cut some potatoes and fry the sticks in a pot or bake them in the oven. But I tried both these methods and I wasn't happy with the result. So the closest I can get is using these already pre-fried frozen fries and fry them in the hot air fryer, which I borrowed from my mom. While the fries are in the hot air fryer, we'll heat the oven to about 180 degrees Celsius, because later on we'll melt the cheese on the fries in there. But for now, we'll tend to the gravy. Many recipes of poutine call for a mixture of chicken and beef stock. But I tried to make a gravy out of this and it tasted yucky to me. An alternative for that would be dark brown instant gravy. This tastes much better than if you use stock, and it's also really easy to prepare. Just heat up some water and add the powder. Let it simmer for about a minute and add a tiny bit of the chicken stock. Another possibility is to make a quick gravy from scratch. For that, we'll cut, season, and sear some beef in a stainless steel pan. In the meantime, we'll finely cut an onion, and when the beef chunks have taken on a nice color, we'll take them out. Oops. And sweat the onion on medium heat. When the onions have softened, we'll add a few cloves of garlic, some tomato paste, and a bit of paprika powder. After a few seconds, we'll deglaze with a mixture of chicken and beef broth. Now we can put in the beef back in and let it simmer for a while. In the meantime, we'll take a quick info break and have a look at the background of Poutine. Poutine was born in the Soviet Union. Oh, wrong script. Sorry, let's try again. The origins and original meaning of the word poutine isn't clear. However, it's said to mean something like mess, bad stew, or a mixture of various things. The dish was invented in Quebec in the late 1950s. In 1983, the fast food chain Burger King included poutine into their menu and started serving it as an optional side dish to hamburgers. In the 1990s, a trend started to emerge, in which poutine was introduced to the circles of upscale restaurants. For example, they started offering poutine with lobster, truffles, caviar, wagyu beef, and foie gras. The prices of these noble variations reach up to $450. Restaurants called poutineries specialize in Canada's national dish and offer dozens of varieties. There are many different toppings to choose from, like sausage, chicken, or bacon. The biggest city of Quebec, Montreal, has a big immigrant population. And so many foreign interpretations of poutine have emerged there. These dishes barely resemble the original, but they all make sure of the following three things: contrast in texture and temperature, a dairy element, and a unifying sauce. Welcome back to the kitchen! Now we'll prepare the seasoning for the fries. Mix some salt, paprika powder, garlic powder, and onion powder together. When the fries are done, immediately toss them in the seasoning so it sticks on them. Then spread them on a baking sheet covered in baking paper. Now it's time to sprinkle the cheese curds over them. And here I encounter a big problem. Because cheese curds aren't sold in Germany. I couldn't find them anywhere, not even on the internet. So please, fellow Canadians, don't be angry at me if I substitute with some mozzarella cheese and cheddar cheese. Ideally, low moist mozzarella would be best, but well, I couldn't find that either. Put the fries and cheese in the preheated oven until the cheese begins to melt. Meanwhile, we'll finish the gravy. After it has reduced in volume and increased in flavor, we'll thicken the gravy with cornstarch slurry. To add a finishing touch, whisk in some cold butter and season it to your liking. If you want, of course, you could filter also the gravy through a strainer. And then just pour the gravy over the cheesy fries and your poutine is done. Let's take a quick glance at the nutritional value of Canada's national dish. With about 1,230 kilocalories per portion, poutine covers 60% of the daily recommended energy amount, which is okay for a main dish. However, it contains a lot of fat. Because the fries are typically double deep fried, this fat includes trans fatty acids, which increases the risk for cardiovascular diseases. Since potatoes don't contain any cholesterol and they are the main ingredient in poutine, the whole dish doesn't have a lot of cholesterol. The amount of salt is quite high for one dish, if we keep in mind that the daily recommended limit is 5 grams. If we look at the relative amounts of the daily recommendations, we see that poutine excels in vitamin B6 and the fat-soluble vitamins E and K. Also, it contains many minerals, especially sodium, chlorine and copper. But since we need a consistent basis for comparison of the different national dishes, I broke down the nutrients based on 1,000 kilocalories. Now for the final review. The calorie amount is a bit higher than I would recommend for a main dish, so it gets 2 out of 5 points. I assess the good nutrients as follows. If in the 1,000 kilocalorie scenario they cover over 50% or more of the daily recommendation, they get a point. The minerals excel here, but the protein, dietary fiber and vitamins are mediocre. However, the latter two could be boosted if you mix a few sweet potato fries into the poutine. The nutrients, which should be kept in close boundaries, are evaluated depending on how close they already get to this boundary in this single dish. The minus points here come from the trans fatty acids mentioned before and the salt. The cholesterol, sugar and alcohol are all reasonable. As for regarding taste, I'll give poutine a 3 out of 5. However, this won't count in our ranking. And so, Canada will be colored in light red. If we compare the two national dishes in the culinary area of English-speaking North America, they rank as follows. So the winner is Canada, and will compete against the winners of other culinary areas. And that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment or subscription, and I hope to see you again soon. Next up is Australia. Until then, bye!